All right, guys, we're going to be talking about one of my favorite voices in the conservative movement, Larry Elder. Because Larry Elder appeared on The Breakfast Club with Charlemagne the God. Now, Charlemagne the God is a leftist. And this man, Charlemagne, man, this is the problem here with people like Charlemagne the God. This man has been complaining about Democrats all the time, every single time. This man actually allowed Joe Biden on his show, and he said, if you actually have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, then you ain't black. Charlemagne the God took it. No backlash. And guess what? Charlemagne went out there and voted for Joe Biden. Now, his excuse was, I ain't voting for Biden. I'm voting for Kamala. It's the same thing because Joe Biden is on the ticket. Kamala Harris was on the ticket with him. You voted for Joe Biden. And there's no doubt about it, guys, that Charlemagne is still going to vote for Master Joe in 2024. This is the problem, man. Democrats take advantage of black people. And no matter what Joe Biden says, black people still go out there and vote for Joe Biden, who has said a whole bunch of racist things, guys. But yet the Democrats, man, and boy, the Republicans, man, they are really, really bad on this. Really bad on this. Democrats go out there throughout their entire history, say a whole bunch of racist things, even today. And the Republicans don't fight back. They don't fight back. That's the problem with Republicans. They're weak. They're really, really weak for the most part. Democrats can tell you, hey, those Republicans are racist with no evidence whatsoever. And black people will just believe it. It's the same with Charlemagne, man. Charlemagne believes in systemic racism, man. Larry Elder does not. It's pretty embarrassing, guys. When I saw Charlemagne actually talking to Joe Biden, man, and he took it, I was like, man, there doesn't seem to be any hope at all. Because after that, Charlemagne said, yep, I'm going to vote for Biden and Harris. No matter what Beijing Biden did. This is a problem. So Larry Elder actually appears on The Breakfast Club with Charlemagne, and boy, he checked him. He checked him really, really good about allowing Joe Biden to just say, hey, you don't vote for me, you ain't black. Well, Larry Elder is a black man. He didn't vote for Beijing Biden. Guess what? He's still black today. He's still black. Now, let's go back, man, because this is a problem right here in this clip right here. This is from 3 years ago. Okay. This is from 3 years ago. All right. And this is an Atlanta news outlet right here from 2020. Let's go ahead and roll this clip right here.
It is the phrase that everybody's talking about today. You ain't black. Those were the words coming from Democratic presidential candidate Joe Biden during a radio show interview.
Well, he was talking about anyone who doesn't know whether to vote for him or President Trump in November. Biden's words sparked a growing debate. CBS 46's Brittany Miller explains that Biden has since apologized.
Yes, he has apologized, saying that he shouldn't have been such a wise guy or so cavalier. But Biden's apology really hasn't put out the flames of this national controversy.
3 words have ignited a political and racial firestorm.
So if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, then you ain't black.
You ain't black is all over social media and major news outlets. The Trump campaign is even selling You Ain't Black t-shirts for $30 online. Presumptive Democratic nominee Joe Biden made the comment while on the popular radio show The Breakfast Club Friday morning.
Yeah, I cringed when I heard Joe Biden say those words.
CBS 46 political analyst Rashad Ritchie believes this was Biden's failed attempt at a joke.
A 77-year-old white male should not be giving advice to black people about what it means to be black.
But Joe Biden does this all the time, and leftists like Rashad Ritchie don't fight back against it. They still go out there and they vote Democrat no matter what.
While Vice Chair of candidate recruitment for Georgia's Democratic Party, Adrian White, doesn't think Biden meant any harm by this.
And I don't hold it against him because, you know, that is who we know. That is Uncle Joe, as we endearingly call him.
Biden.
Yeah, see, right there, guys, right there. Oh, It's okay. It's Joe Biden. He can say whatever he wants about black people, and Joe Biden doesn't get held accountable. Joe Biden is an old school racist.
Biden's opposers aren't letting him off the hook, saying the Democratic Party takes the black vote for granted.
They do.
I think he's really coming in thinking that he'll get a pass and that he can really take it for granted.
Meantime, State Representative Vernon Jones says Biden's statement is an example of bigotry in the Democratic Party. But when I asked him about President Trump's previous divisive and racist comments,
what Donald Trump has said in the past, this is about what Joe Biden said this morning after black people lifted him out of the depths of losing a national election in South Carolina.
And developing this week, a recent Quinnipiac poll shows 81% of the black vote going to Biden compared to 3% to President Trump. Live.
Right there, guys. So right there, 81%. Now, this is before the 2020 election, said they were still voting for Joe Biden. 81% of black people, no matter what Biden says. I mean, guys, they really, really do take the black vote for granted. Now, of course, you know, this CBS station had to be propagandist and said, what about Donald Trump? What he actually said in the past? Donald Trump hasn't said anything racist. He has not said anything racist, especially, you know, to black people like Joe Biden, who said he didn't want his kids to grow up in a racial jungle. Joe Biden was buddy-buddy with segregationists, Klan members like Robert Byrd. No, of course, the mainstream media, the black media, they're not going to hold Joe Biden accountable, but they'll make up stuff and say, hey, Trump's a racist with no evidence whatsoever. But let's get back over here to Larry Elder, man, because he got him. He got him right here. He was not going to let Charlemagne off the hook for, you know, just kowtowing to Joe Biden when he said, you ain't black. He allowed him. He didn't hit back against Joe Biden at all. Let's go ahead and roll this.
Have you ever heard of the term nigga wake up call?
No.
It is an incident where a person of color forgets that they are of color and are reminded rather brutally by an unexpected act of racism. Have you ever had any of those?
Oh, brother.
I'm just asking. You think you've ever had
Well,
any of those?
I'm acutely aware, Charlemagne, that I'm a black person, just as you are a black person. And when Joe Biden insulted you by saying, you ain't really black, we don't know whether or not you want to vote for me or vote for Donald Trump, it seems to me that should have been a wake-up call on your part. How dare this guy come in here and insult you, a black man, and tell you you got to think a certain kind of way? I'm amazed that you weren't mad about that.
I'm not gonna say it upset me, just like I'm not letting you upset me. You know what I mean? I don't tend to get upset over things like that. But what I did say,
well, you just not talk about a nigger wake-up call, and it seemed to me that should have been a wake-up call on your part to have a white guy come in here who also said, by the way, about Mitt Romney. Because he didn't want to put more regulations on Wall Street, going to put y'all back in chains. And Joe Biden has lied for decades about his civil rights record, claiming that he desegregated movie theaters and restaurants in Wilmington, Delaware, when he didn't do any of that. He lied and said that he tried to visit Nelson Mandela during apartheid South Africa. He did not. Actually, Joe Biden said that he got arrested on the way to go see Nelson Mandela. That was a complete lie. And he came in here and told you aren't even black and let you think a certain kind of way. It seemed to me that should have been a nigga wake-up call for you, but it wasn't, apparently.
Yeah, I mean, no, for the record, I'm not a Democrat or Republican.
Oh, yeah, you're a Democrat. You are a Democrat. You're a far-left Democrat, and you just take it. Vote blue no matter who.
I didn't say you were.
I think both.
I don't know what you are. I never even asked you about your party affiliation.
Yeah,
I'm just saying, but you are black. And to have a white guy come in here and tell you have to say, think a certain kind of way, otherwise you, quote, ain't black? Wow.
How should I have replied to him, you think?
What I just now said, how dare you insult me and tell me I think as a human being, let alone as a black person? I don't tell you how to think, Joe Biden. How dare you come in here and tell me how I should think? I'm going to vote for Donald Trump if I want to vote for Donald Trump. And if I want to vote for Donald Trump, it does not make me not black. 20% of black people, black men, as I said, voted for Donald Trump in 2020. Are they not black now? So only 80% of black people, black men walking around are really black, 20% are not because they voted for Donald Trump? How insulting is that? How condescending is that?
I mean, you're probably right, but I didn't take it in that way.
Well, I did.
As I said to him in that moment, it's just about me wanting something for my people, and I want to know what is he going to do for my people, and not only for my people now, how are you going to atone for the things you've done to my people?
Right.
He's not. Think of this, man. If you're Joe Biden, man, atoning for what you've done to black people vote blue no matter who. There's no incentive whatsoever for Democrats to do anything for black people. None. Why? Because black people have not held Democrats accountable. No matter what. Vote blue, no matter who. I mean, guys, the Democrats, man, have done a great job with getting black people to vote for them. Donald Trump did get more of the black vote, like the highest percentage in like 50 years. But over the past 50 plus years, almost 60 years, black people have been voting Democrat. The black family has been destroyed because of Democrat policies started with Lyndon Johnson. Liberal policies have destroyed the black family. Black people are married to the government because of Lyndon Johnson.
That's it.
Right. And this is a guy, Joe Biden, who, when he first got into the Senate, hung out with segregationists, talked about how well he got along with them, talked about how he didn't want integration because of a jungle. This guy has made all sorts of insulting things to black people, and his policies right now are hurting black people. Inflation hurts the people at the bottom more than anything else. Letting a bunch of illegal aliens into the border are hurting black people more than anybody else, as I said earlier. He's opposes school choice when he has his own kids in private school, and we lost a year, almost 2 years of in-school education in California because of COVID that he supported. I mean, this guy has done monstrous things to black people, and then for him to come in here and tell you how you ought to think as a black person, it blew my mind.
As a person objectively who doesn't care about either party.
So you see that right there, man. Charlemagne, man, is a propagandist for the left. That's all he is. And I believe, guys, that Marxists and communists, they have done so much damage to the black community. Fannie Willis, out there in Fulton County, trying to get Donald Trump thrown in jail for the 2020 election. Fannie Willis she's a Marxist. Her father was a communist. And Donald Trump put out a statement calling on people like Fannie Willis out there, called them riggers, as in like trying to rig an election. And now they're trying to spin that as like Donald Trump is being racist. Newsflash, guys. The word rigger, never actually heard that referred to as being racist. They're saying, oh, because it actually rhymes with the N-word. Guess what? There's a bunch of words that actually rhyme with the N-word. I mean, diggers, how about that? That actually rhymes with the N-word. It does. There's a bunch of words. So is diggers now a racial slur? Of course not. But leftists believe that, and also so-called Republicans here like Alyssa Farrah Griffin. Look here. Ex-Trump aide says Trump's use of riggers isn't a racial dog whistle. It's a bullhorn, because Alyssa Farrah Griffin is a fake Republican, it seems. Of course, you guys know she's on The View. The only reason why she's actually on The View is because she's weak. She's weak. She will kowtow to the left. Let's go ahead and listen to this here.
Social yesterday wrote, quote, "They never went after those that rigged the election. They only went after those that fought to find the riggers," a word that I'm not particularly familiar with, riggers.
Right there. Even here on CNN, he's like, I'm not familiar with that word.
Keith Boykin, a Democratic political commentator and former White House aide to Bill Clinton, he took issue with that term. Take a listen.
Oh, and he wants to find the riggers, his word, not mine, who stole the election from him. Rigger, please.
Boykin went on to say Trump's choice of words is not an accident after spending days making racist attacks against Fannie Willis, the black woman leading the prosecution against him in Atlanta. What do you make of that?
I mean, it's entirely unsurprising if you've been watching and listening to Donald Trump attack essentially everyone who has criticized him, certainly those who have investigated him. But I think what is different here is that he is pushing the limits of the criminal justice system in the sense of what he is saying online. His attorneys certainly recognize that. I mean, they argue publicly and in court that he has a First Amendment right, that he is running for office, that what he says should not be limited. But they also recognize the reality that these are prosecutors and judges that are either overseeing the case or handling the investigation in and of itself, and that this is not helpful to them, that this is problematic. But Trump is someone who can't necessarily, be told what to do. I mean, his post yesterday about holding the major, or 2 days ago about holding the major press conference at Mar-a-Lago or at Bedminster on Monday, talking about how he's finally going to prove election fraud 3 years later, is something that he did almost entirely on his own. It wasn't something that was this coordinated campaign strategy. And so, I mean, he has access to these Truth Social's accounts. He's the one who posts these posts. And so the question is, does the judge weigh in here in any of these cases? And do they get involved? And does it hurt him potentially, as Judge Chutkan in Washington has warned that it would? Whether or not that happens remains to be seen.
Alyssa, what do you make of the racial accusation Keith Boykin was making there, that the use of the word rigor is not unintentional? Mr. Trump, President Trump, has certainly been accused of racist language before.
Right. With Trump, you don't need to look for a dog whistle. It's a bullhorn when it comes to race. And I do think that's deliberate. We've seen slanderous attacks that he's put out against Fani Willis, alleged things I won't even repeat. So he's not really hiding that he's going to lean into that element. And this is taking place just outside of Atlanta. When you saw the courtroom, it was a lot of black men and women who were serving in that courtroom. The fact that he's introducing race into this prosecution surprises me. It's disgusting. It's textbook Donald Trump, but it comes as no surprise.
Yeah.
So right there, guys, right there, they're trying to really, really stretch and paint Trump as a racist. Him going after Fani Willis because she's black? No, he's going after Fani Willis because she's a communist. He's going after Alvin Bragg up there in New York because he's a communist. Has nothing to do with their skin color. He has said nothing racist about these people. But of course, the left and so-called weak Republicans, man, they would just kowtow to the left. But shout out to Larry Elder, man, because he shut down Charlemagne. I mean, black people, you better wake up, man. The Democrats will do nothing for you because there's no reason to actually do anything for black people because you don't hold them accountable. And Marxism and communism, man, has destroyed the black community. Progressive, communist, Marxist policies are destroying the black community. Look at some of these cities, guys. Chicago, run by black Democrats, it's a disaster. Memphis, everybody that's running that city is black Democrats. It's a disaster. Baltimore, run by black Democrats. The city is a disaster. Why? Because they're run by a bunch of far leftists. But yet black people still go out there and vote for not just Democrats, man, but so-called progressive Democrats who are the worst. That's just my thoughts on this. What do you guys think of this? Black and White Network fans, let us know what you think about all this in the comments. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. And we'll catch you next time.